Good morning, everyone. I hope that this is audible. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. We have a panel of 5, and then I, with 6 person, will moderate this panel for next 40 minutes. Let me call in the team. First one, Jascha Schlim. Give him a big hand. Next, Fadi Saab. Spen Imri. Next, Devraj Chatterjee. And Gada Al-Naimi. Thank you, panel members. The topic here is the global operation excellence. Before I move on to invite the speakers to share their global view, I'd like to share the topic and the introduction. To start with, it's Puli, myself from Petrorabic as a senior advisor for the CEO and president. Ladies and gentlemen, the guests over here and the innovators in operational excellence. Welcome to Riyadh, the hub of innovation and progress. Lots of things happening over here. Today we gathered not just to discuss the excellence, but to define the future of operation excellence in our rapidly evolving world. In this age of transformation, our quest is not just for the improvement, but for the relentless pursuit of the perfection in moving forward the operational excellence. As we convene here today, let us harness the collaborative wisdom and express in this room all the experienced people to unravel their secrets that will shape our industries and refine the benchmarks of success. Riyadh is not just our location, it's the launchpad for revolutionary ideas and epicenter of operational brilliance. So let's embark the journey together where ideas converge and excellence prevails. With that note, I will invite the first speaker, Jascha Schlim, who comes from Germany, a global process and continuous improvement champion and consultant for the industry. Let me start asking the first, probably the question to reflect your experience. What are the key challenges you have faced in implementing operation excellence within your organization?
Thank you, Puli, for inviting me, first of all. Well, in terms of key challenges, I've seen as a global process consultant, I've seen a number of industries, diverse industries. I've been in automotive, I've been into oil and gas, I've been into IT, in entertainment and media, and wherever I go, in whatever industry I've been to, the key challenge mostly is the same. It's about people resisting programs like operational excellence, people resisting change. Why is that the case? It's definitely the case because when you think of operational excellence, with operational excellence with your program, you want to trigger change. You want to improve things. You want to improve your processes, your procedures. You want to work on improving your culture, or the culture that you're instilling in the company, which is focusing on continuous learning. And this, of course, comes along with the change and changing mindset, changing established ways of working that people are used to. So that maybe processes people have been working for weeks, months, years, or even decades with, and all of a sudden you're disrupting this common environment, and you're telling people, okay, we want to change, we want to improve, we really focus on innovation and innovate our processes, policies and procedures and our system to have an integrated common system.
Okay.
People I've heard in my life, the last 12 years, I've heard many people telling me, I don't have time, I don't have the resources to support your program, I have customer issues which are more pressing, which I need to resolve first, or simply also I was told, well, your program doesn't fit our culture, doesn't fit our legal requirements, it's because our local requirements are much more different than what's coming from your side.
Thank you.
So wrapping it up, it really, for instilling operational excellence, for instilling culture, it's really about having a clear mission, a clear vision of what you want to achieve, to have a clearly formulated vision, mission, strategy, and rollout and communication plan to take everyone on board.
Thank you so much. I mean, excellent view. You brought the aspect of culture. That's predominantly common everywhere. What works in one culture doesn't work other ways. Thanks for that sharing. Next, before moving to next one, I have another question for you. How do you define and measure the success in terms of operational excellence?
So in my opinion, you have to differentiate in the maturity stage of a company that is currently in. So, and for this differentiation of stages in maturity, I always like to refer to Duran's Institute model of excellence framework, where you have three phases. You have the phase of building the foundation. The second phase is building up the enablers, and the third phase is basically putting out the output that you're basically, based on your change program, based on the journey you've gone through, it's basically the output that you're delivering to the customer. And when you're speaking in terms of these three phases, in the foundation phase, in order to measure operational excellence success, it's very important that you measure the degree of level of involvement that you have created, the level of buy-in of your customers you were able to seek with the vision, with the strategy that you have set up, that you have developed in-house, where you want to go, where you want to be. So you can measure the level and the degree of buy-in into your vision, of buy-in into your strategy. When you go from the foundation phase going into the enabler phase, it's much more in terms of your widening training, your establishing training of lean tools, lean mechanisms, of methods that you would like to establish. And here, you're also starting the process of innovating the company, of disrupting the company by setting new standards in processes, new standards in where you want to be in the future, and you're inventing every process, you're inventing new, you're making the process leaner, safer, or much more higher quality. And you're trying to harmonize. Once they're harmonized, once you're standardized, you're integrating this in a whole working system and a working environment, these whole individual processes. So it's becoming one system. And there you can measure the degree of harmonization, the degree of standardization that you have achieved, the same as the degree of deviation and the magnitude of systems that are still prevailing in the company. So this you should measure in the enabler phase, and also the number of innovative ideas that are coming in from your people that you have trained. So this is enabler phase. And last but not least, when you're transitioning into the output phase or outcome phase, as it's mentioned by Duran's framework, what you would measure there is certainly you have a final product, you have remodeled your processes, your systems internally, and then you're delivering the product to the customer. And you can measure the customer satisfaction in the stage, in the first place. You can measure your reputation, but you can also measure, of course, your profitability and the output and the quality of your products and the feedback of your quality to your products. That's what you can measure, like from externally as feedback from your customers. When you're looking internally, you have the opportunity to look at internally defined KPIs, so key performance indicators, like you can measure productivity, you can measure lead time, you can measure defects that you're basically incurring within the process of production, for instance. So this is very important that you measure internal KPIs. So in a nutshell, it's about operational excellence has a diversity and a magnitude of being measured according to the different phases, the stages of maturity that you're in. Very important is that you continuously track innovation, continuously track at what stage you're currently in, and you continuously track about the stage of learning that your people have achieved throughout each different phases in order to achieve an excellence organization.
Thank you so much. I didn't expect such a wide KPIs or the measured process you would cover. You mentioned about Geron excellence model that promotes more to ultimate KPI of measurement of success is your customers. That's great. Thank you so much for that view. I would like to move to next speaker, Dr. Sven Emery. He holds multiple positions, but he's now the Europe CEO at the International Association for People and Performance Development. Yep. So I would like to ask a few questions to you there.
Absolutely.
Yep. I saw it's just changed seat. I have the first question for you is how do you foster a culture of continuous improvement? So we talk about continuous improvement, but how do you foster a culture of continuous improvement and innovation within your teams?
Okay. Interesting question, by the way. So how do we foster culture and innovation in an organization? It's not something that organizations are basically instantaneously to implement. Now,
sorry, can you bring the mic closer? Yeah.
The mic closer?
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Not.
All right. So we are practically looking at the continuous improvement. So what do we mean by continuous improvement is the fact that we do plan, check, and act, right? So that is a never-ending cycle. So this closed loop is intending in terms of empowering the employees. So we are talking about being able to hear the voice of employees. We make time for the employees to basically be communicated through the management by walking around. For example, in General Electrics or other well-known eminent organizations, we have this line of sight where the top management needs to be committed to convey and deliver the vision, the mission, the objectives, correct? So once you do that, you are also obtaining a feedback. So it's kind of a snowball where you talk about encapsulation of creativity and you are hearing the voice on top of that from the feedback of customers. Now, innovation, and we have practically even realized this by now, it might be coming from different departments, or it might be happening in operations per se, where we are talking about process innovation, where we are talking about product innovation, and all this in tandem. What happens is that we need to hear the voice, besides of the employees, of the customers. So the customers talk about the features and benefits where we need to evolve throughout the time. Now, we mentioned we need to have the support of top management, we need to have the empowerment of our employees, we need to hear the voice of the customers, and all in all, once we put all these things together, we will realize where it is our actual competitive advantage in order to sustain it and operationalize it and make it more effective and efficient. I think this might be somehow summing up.
Thank you so much. You're giving a specific example of what we spoke about before. To continue with that, maybe I would like to always measure what are the most critical KPIs or metrics you track to ensure operational excellence is successful?
Right. So, yeah, I mean, we live in an era nowadays when we have to clarify what are the differentiation between, let's say, dashboards, KPIs, and let's say matrices, because we have to understand the fact that an organization, when they are setting KPIs, they have to look at some angles. For example, an organization who wants to have an appropriate productivity of a workforce or manpower, as we call it, they need to create an appropriate fit in between. So we don't want to have excessive nor redundancy happening in our organization. So we are talking about having the right number of people at the right place, at the right location given to our organization. That's number one. Number two is about machinery, right, or equipment. So we talk about reliability of the machinery and equipment, so we can have a KPI for maintenance per se, besides the workforce. We can have about the products, right? So what's happening in terms of the product innovation, or what's happening with the attributes that we are adding to the products in order to be able to differentiate in the market. How do we position ourselves based on the products? And we can have also the materials, or depending, or the suppliers, if you want to put it in there. So this might be some of the 4 M's, as I call this: the manpower, machinery, materials, and don't forget, the last one is the most critical one. That is the methods. So we are talking about the methods when we talk about improvement. Let's say statistical process control. We can use the 5S. We can use even the Six Sigma. It doesn't matter, as long as you believe, because everything, having mentioned earlier, you yourselves, the culture, because culture normally eats for breakfast the competitive advantage, doesn't it? Now, the idea is that we change the hearts and the minds of our stakeholders, primarily the suppliers and our customers. As long as we know this, we have the right to optimize our processes, because as long as we know what our raw materials, etc., are as an input, we will absolutely be able to work on how we can improve the processes in terms of eliminating waste, removing errors, defects, and we will have the zero defect product at the end of the day, which is going to serve the upstream of the chain. So all in all, KPIs, I can summarize, is to create an infographic where you are going to measure whether you are going to use a balance scorecard related, which can be even segmented based on operations, people, customers, and finance, because finance needs also to be included as long as we relate to the return on investment we have done and all other KPIs that might be important. All in all, organizations make mistakes nowadays when they list many KPIs where they lose the track. So what are we supposed to do in order to overcome such situations? Let's say we have 3 to 5 most important KPIs, then next follows to have supportive KPIs. No one is stopping you to do that. So make sure that these KPIs are systematically measured, and then you can use them for decision making or for reporting to the top management by the utilization of infographics or anything similar in between those lines. I suppose this answers the question.
Thank you so much. I mean, you covered a dozen metrics, and then you also focused on, like, you prioritized 3 to 5, and you touched upon hearts and minds. I like that when you touch hearts and minds coming to KPIs and metrics. It's very important because we are all human. We are not robots. So we need to be attentive to humans and then how they buy into these things. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
With that, I would like to move to next, Mr. Fadi Saab, who is the lead for Microsoft Business Applications in the Middle East, over 25 years in this field. Would like to hear your views on a couple of questions. What roles does the technology play? You come from technology field, in driving this operation excellence, and how do you leverage it effectively?
Excellent. Thank you for the question, and thank you for inviting us for that event, and especially in Saudi. It's a great and honor to be here. The first thing to tell you that I have a long experience in transformations, but what we are seeing today is completely different in technology. The first thing that I can highlight is that the word work is not the same as what was in the past. Definitely it has a tremendous change in the way how we set work at companies. So that kind of a change is really looking at, for all the companies, they are looking at really for how they can shift it completely differently on the way of work at workplace. The second thing to highlight as well is that objective was still the same. All companies are looking at the same, but the way how they have to embrace the operation excellence has has shifted completely. Two things from technology that has disrupted that and has made that kind of a pressure on the market to change the operating model. The first one is the explosion of what we call digital channels, the social channels, as well as the new channels that we are seeing that we haven't seen in the past, in the last 10 years. And the second one is the data play. And that kind of capability of the artificial intelligence sitting on our side and also to act as well on the processes that we didn't have in the past. These two elements have shaped all CEOs to look again at their operating model and to start thinking completely at the fundamentals of their companies by looking first at their vision and strategy completely differently, their culture, their potential, and their capabilities. Now, if you look at practically how the AI and where from Microsoft we have the experience now with our customers, how to help them in order to go there and where the new technology is. We look at it from, if you look at the strategy in the market in general, we look at it at 4 pillars. The first one is how to empower the employees. The second one is how to engage better with customers, how to set operation excellence, and let's not also forget the fourth one. The product as well at the companies sometimes need to be changed towards that change of the technology. Now, if I will also define the nature of the AI, we have two nature of AI. There is the everyday AI and there is a changed game AI. The everyday AI in general sits on the 2 first pillars, which is how to engage better with customers and how to empower employees. In Microsoft, we call them Copilot. To give you a small example about that Copilot, in the space of the call center, if you have an agent having a customer in front of him and having that customer that have sent multiple emails, 10, 20 emails to the same subject, plus also have called the call center 5, 6 times, imagine the agent how many time he will spend to be able to summarize all of this history with that customer. So now the Copilot can take all of this, summarize it into 3 bullet points. I can assure you the accuracy is more than 99%. Sorry, 99% accuracy in the summary of what is in front of the agent. Game changer is also an AI that we are looking at as well to change the game. And it's disrupting as well for the way how we will set it. And I will maybe give a small example. This is where some of the companies are looking at the maintenance as such, like for example, telcos or in energy. When they do maintenance, they need as well to reduce the cost of the maintenance by doing preventive maintenance. And artificial intelligence, by game changing, definitely it will help a lot.
Thank you so much. This world, when technology cannot be separated from our day-to-day activities, right? We live in with that, it's integrated. We can't run away. Having heard that, could you share a success stories or example where you have seen how the operation excellence led to significant improvements or like breakthrough innovations?
Yeah. So I will take 2 examples, different in nature, different from industries, but at least to set at least that explanation that I just did in my first part. The first one will be Abu Dhabi government. The Abu Dhabi government, we work with them since 2018. They were looking at how to transform the operating model of the relation with their citizens. So the first thing that they have established, beyond the fact that they have looked at completed the transformation at the operating model, the first aspect from a technology perspective is how to open it up for all the channels to allow all citizens to access the government on all of these kind of digital channels. The second aspect is to introduce the artificial intelligence to be able to resolve cases at the maximum percentage of what's coming at the call center. And that helped us even to get now very high volume of calls that can be resolved on a self-service manner from artificial intelligence. Second example that will provide you is Ecolab. To explain on what's the industry of Ecolab, so they, on one of their departments, they provide a service to clean water at companies. So to clean the water, they come with a tank. They put the tank in the beginning of the companies. They get the water in these tanks. They have a lot of filters and machines in these tanks that provide the clean water to your companies. So you can imagine in the territory of the United States, they have more than 100,000 of tanks that are installed at their customers. Now, if I think about it, how many engineers would they need to maintain all of these tanks? It is hundreds of thousands. So two main challenges that they had in the past. The first one is the inspection costing them a lot of money. Why? Because the operating model of the maintenance will have, the first step is to do inspections, and getting inspection with hundreds of thousands of engineers going on all the territory of the USA to check on all of these tanks take them a lot of effort. The second challenge is to have in real time how they can operate on that operational model to know what are the tanks that are performing well versus the ones that are not performing well. And the third challenge could be easily detected from that is how are we able to plan for all of these engineers to go on all of these territories and do the maintenance of these tanks. So the first step was to transform their products, which means that the products which call them the tanks, I will put a word, technology word, call it IoT. IoT means that they put connectors on these tanks, getting out from these tanks telemetries that allows them to reduce the inspection management from their engineers. And the benefits of that kind of digitalization of the products allowing them to have in real time every product, how it is operating at every customer, and even for going further in order to analyze as well what are the products that are working well versus the ones that are not working well. Going further as well, this is where they introduce as well from artificial intelligence the preventive maintenance. So they knew, even with that kind of technology of data play, in advance where they have to send their engineers in order to operate on their tanks and get their customers being satisfied and be ahead of the market from an operation perspective.
Okay, in the interest of time, would you wrap up, if you don't mind?
Perfect.
Do you have any final words?
No, just the wrap-up time is that this is where for the artificial intelligence is really disrupting the market and changing the way, and this is where, as I said in the 4 pillars in the beginning, has to rethink about the vision, the strategy of going to market, the capabilities, and the culture.
Thank you so much. It's always very interesting to see the real-life cases. Thanks for sharing that. I move to the next speaker, Mr. Devraj Chatterjee. He's the General Manager of Tata Business Excellence Group. A couple of questions to you. The first one is, how do you balance short-term efficiency gains with long-term benefits? It's always a challenge balancing both of these. How do you see these two in operational excellence initiatives?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Puli, and thank you everyone for having me here today. I represent the Tata Group, which is a $135 billion company, and it's having a presence in almost everything, salt to software. So I would share my experience on the question that Dr. Puli has asked. So it's all about, I think, how the organization's vision, mission, and strategic objectives are translated into the initiatives. And ultimately, those initiatives can only happen when, our processes are strong and, people execute those processes, right? So that's I think, one important thing. And when we talk about the processes, and processes brings operational excellence. And, how in these processes, when you are designing, we have looked at the balance of the matrix, while focusing on the lag matrix, which is more about the outcome, which could be more of long term, but then what are the lead matrix or the in-process matrix that we have defined, so that we also keep focus on those lead matrix on a day-to-day basis, so that we can achieve the lag matrix probably at the end of the year, probably at the end of the 3 year. So that's very important, that how we have balanced the set of matrix between lag and lead within our processes when we are designing our processes. That's an important one. And the second one is that, how the leadership is actually, looking at, monitoring these processes, how they have created a review and governance architecture around it. While the leadership can always, think about, innovation, breakthrough, the middle management should focus on the continuous improvement, and the front line should focus on keeping those day-to-day metrics within green. So that's very important. And finally, I think what Doctor said is that is all about PDCA and SDCA. How do you run those cycles of plan, do, check, act while doing improvement, and then how do you standardize those improvement so that you don't lose those, benefits that you have achieved. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. The one thing which is always a challenge is engaging people in the process of operation excellence implementation. So what strategies do you employ to overcome that resistance to change during the implementation of operation excellence programs?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I think it is very important for the leadership, the top management to set the culture at the top. They need to have the skin in the game, because it's all about change management and it has to be driven from the leadership. What we have seen in our companies is that when the leadership promotes collaboration between teams, whether it is cross-locational teams, whether it is cross-functional teams, how do they empower them to drive those initiatives while they also have the the monitoring at the ground level as well. So that's very one important thing. The second important thing is that how the leadership is also setting the culture by doing role modeling. So while we can have various initiatives around quality, cost, delivery, etc., but whether the leadership is there in the shop floor where the actions are happening. So whether the leadership is doing the Gemba work, whether the leadership is doing the layered process audit, which is one of the important audit that is being conducted by across the organization from top layer to the bottom layer using the same standard checklist. So that's one very important thing. And third, the last one that I would like to emphasize on this is when the change management is being brought in the organization, how we are creating the organization as a learning organization. How the knowledge management is being used to break the silos of operational excellence across the functions. Because, something has been done somewhere at some site, very good things, but then some site is not at all, knowing that particular thing. So how do you create a knowledge management process so that you break down the silos and you can gain more and more out of the operational excellence? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I can't emphasize more. People, we are all human, we will still be there, how much ever automation comes. Engaging, rallying the people is the key. Thanks for echoing the change management principles on that. With that, I move to the last speaker, Ms. Gada Al-Naimi. She's a manager of awards and accreditation management in Royal Commission for Allura. Welcome.
Thank you very
The
much.
last couple of questions for you is, in your opinion, what are the most common misconceptions about operational excellence and how do you address them?
Thank you very much. It seems that I'm the oldest that cannot memorize my experience. I'm the only one with the notes. But that will help the people who's taking notes. So I'll summarize it in a couple of points from long experience working in a different organizations with the different sectors, public and government and private sectors, NGOs, and also from assessment point of view. So I'll mention 5. Number 6, I will skip it because Dr. Fadi will be mad of me. He doesn't like it. It's about digitalization. So the 5 points that he will agree with me. Number 1 is operational excellence always considers as a solve for any problem. And this is not true. You need to start with a realistic objectives, results, and then operational excellence will depend heavily on where it will go and the driving forces toward these goals and objectives. Number 2, it's a luxury, operational excellence, and it's a costly methodology. But all quality improvement strategies come with a cost. And if we consider it, it's not an expensive, it is an investment for organizations. So definitely we need to invest more in operational excellence. Number 3, it's one of the corporate propaganda, which is usually good in papers and fail in results. And this is not true. Operational excellence is one of the main assets of organization that drive success. Number 4, it's that operational excellence is fit for large size organization. And this is not true. It could fit to any size, any type of organization, but these organization with a hard work, a motivation, a high commitment, and they have a clear objective and strategy. Number 5 is that cutting costs. Operational excellence is always for cutting costs, but this is also not true. Organizational excellence is about increasing and improving the efficiencies of our internal processes, of our human capabilities, and increase the productivity of them. Number 6, Dr. Fadi, close your ears. It's operational excellence is about digitalization and IT solutions. And this is not true. IT solution, digitalization, improve operational excellence, efficiency, and productivity. So to get the success, what you need is to get them all in and get to the organization as a whole, use operational excellence with its tool and techniques.
Thank you. Thank you so much. In addressing those misconceptions, thanks, you express almost every aspect of it.
Yeah.
How do you ensure the alignment between different departments or the teams in moving forward, pursuing the Operation Excellence goals?
I know you're going to ask this question because I said bring them all in. So it's about alignment. Now, if we go to the alignment, we have different type of alignments. We have horizontal alignments in the organization where departments are on the same level, and this need from you to find the objective that they all share together and their interests together, so you could align them towards that crystal clear operational excellence objective. If you have a horizontal alignment, this is come by itself. It's a default alignment because they all share the same operational excellence objective. You will not do a lot of that work. So in short, the organizational excellence structure will give you an overview about how these department teams functionality and how to bring them all together and see the linkage between each and another. Another type of alignment is, which we all know it, the strategy alignment. And this is very clear when you bring all sharing objectives and let them work on the same initiative and projects and report for the same KPIs. Another type of alignment is the customer alignment and the incentive alignments, and these are come towards one strategic or one objective, one thing. The last one is the true star, the North Star, or your true north, where you want to head. So you bring all the people toward that, start with alignment. Now, how we could make sure that this alignment is correct is not only by organizational structure, you put them on a way towards your strategy from the beginning. It's also by using the OKR solutions, objective and key results solutions, that will show you the similarity between each functions and team and get them together. Another thing is the agility of the systems and also the proper coordination, communication clear, and as I said from the beginning, crystal clear operational excellence objectives will bring them all. And one last thing is we need to measure the alignment. And measurement could be using employee customer surveys, and there is organizational excellence, organizational alignment survey, and there are some of the software solutions like WorkPath.
Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing that fine finished touch.
I hope everybody took notes.
Yeah, you memorized well or something.
Thank you.
Just to wrap up all, thank you so much, speakers. It's an interesting sharing from global perspective, various industries. Just wanted to wrap up with a closing address as we draw the curtains of the magnificent symposium over here. Riyadh becomes not just the the city on the map, but a beacon of operational innovation and aspiration. Throughout the discourse, we have unearthed with the speakers the treasures on the inside and diving deep into the challenges that fortify the journey towards operational excellence. We have sculpted success through their sharing, not as a mere destination, as a masterpiece crafted by our relentless pursuit of improvement, measured not only by the numbers, but by the kind of impact it has on the industries, economies, most importantly on the human lives. The technology, when we hear about our steadfast ally, has not just augmented, but revolutionized how we approach on the operational excellence, stitching the innovations seamlessly into the fabric of operational excellence. Witnessing the narrative triumphant of case studies we heard, we have seen a lot of improvements that can be achieved through this aspect. Culture of the continuous improvement or perpetual improvement has been seeded in our discussion, where innovation thrives and becomes the lifeblood of the organization growth, guided by the KPIs and metrics, and balancing the short-term and long-term benefits, and how to handle the resistance to change in moving forward. There were some misconceptions typically that happens. The speaker addressed very well how do we manage those stumbling blocks moving forward and transform those using that as a stepping stone, as a catalyst for success, than worry about it. Lastly, alignment where the symphony of the diverse departments and team organize and the effects which is orchestrating the crescendo of success, how we wanted to envision in future. As we bid the farewell to the voices here of insight of collaboration, let us carry forth the echoes of discourse over here, fostering the legacy of continuous improvement, evolution, and unearthing the excellence within our organizations and our communities. Let us depart as ambassadors and take the message as its operational brilliance, carrying the torch of progress and innovation wherever our paths may lead to. Until we meet again, let the spirit of excellence guide our endeavor, for the sky is not the limit, but just beginning of our aspirations. Thank you, everyone, and the organizers for the opportunity. Thanks so much.